All right, go for it.
Okay, so just got a few questions and very interesting session too, by the way. So the first one is, I have your transfer asset sheet from the, I'm sorry, wait a minute. Can you close that door, please? I can't hear. Okay, can you close it anyway? I have your transfer assets sheet from the SSM.
Yeah.
And I wanted to know how you actually transfer the title of a house into the church.
Simple.
Oh, simple. Okay.
Yeah, grand deed, quick land deed. We can give you, if you're a VIP member, we give you a sample that you can utilize, fill out.
Oh.
Sometimes the county recorder requires different functions. Sometimes they have their own forms, but you can take the information on our template and you can put it onto that new form yourself and get it dialed in easily.
Okay, I am a VIP member. So the next thing is, so is it something that we would reflect in our church minutes, or is that something?
On a purchase
Well,
like that, I would. On a purchase like that, I would. Now, remember something, nobody sees the minutes of your private foundation.
right.
You know, sometimes a bank, you know, when you're opening up a new account, is going to want to see the articles or
Mhm.
the equivalent of the articles. And you just hand them that portion without handing them all the minutes and stuff. But it's not like an officer of a court or a judge is going to be able to order you bring in your minutes. But it's, you know, if you're running a church, you want to keep minutes. You want to get a board. You want to get help with wise counsel, and that way you're above reproach. But the reality is, yeah, on a bigger purchase, absolutely not necessarily on something small.
Okay, so we don't have to let the public make them aware of the transition. I know that that's kind of weird,
No.
but okay. No, we don't need to make them, let them
No,
know.
and if you're going to do a car
A car,
title,
okay.
let me give you the name and number of a gentleman, and you have to use the name HISAdvocates. His name is Bruce, and his phone number is toll free 888-494-4499. And what you do is you set up a box in South Dakota, and you have your titles registered in South Dakota. The reason is it pulls the car out of the jurisdiction of a local state, number one. Number two, cost. And number three, for me, smog. I don't have to smog anything anymore.
Okay, okay. Okay, so then the next one is, I heard you say that you could transfer property even if you don't have the title and you're still making payments. Is that, did I hear correctly?
That's true, but not in a car, but on the home, yes, it's true.
On a home? And how does transferring the property that still has payments make it a safer environment to help protect the property?
Well, number one, IRS can't foreclose on a property that's not in your name, or nor can anybody with a judgment. They can't go after a property that's not in your name
Mhm.
because you've placed it into the name of a private foundation. Number two, it's an unregistered foundation. Who are they going to serve?
Okay.
All the elements of it being protected. You're increasing the ability, and there's other things that I would do on top of that. Like I really wanted to do asset protection on my property, and it was still recorded in the county recorder. I would take all the equity in the property and put a lien on it with another foundation, and that way I'm first in line, first in time. So if anybody were to ever somehow do a mechanics lien or some type of lien on the property, whether in the foundation or not, people can do a lien, not necessarily a judgment, because how are they going to serve a judgment against a foundation, but maybe a lien where they're just filling some lien out, mechanics lien or whatever, throwing it on the property. Number one, they have to prove that you, being the fact that you have leaned up to 100% of the equity interest in the property, them as a mechanics lien or what have you, depending on your state, might come in as an inferior position and not be able to collect on the debt. Now, if you have a mechanics lien, that means you haven't paid a debt on the house. Maybe. So just take that into consideration and operate in honor. That's all I ever tell people when you're operating with these foundations, operating in honor as if you are um, dealing with an instrument of God, which is truly what you are doing. But this
Yeah.
is putting a house in the name of a foundation is very easy, whether it has payments on it or not. Now, I do want to say to you that most trustees have an acceleration clause. If you transfer something out of your name into the name of a trust, they have an acceleration clause where they can accelerate the note. However, in doing thousands of loans personally in my life and seeing thousands of foreclosures, I've never once seen a bank go after somebody for transferring the title into any trust or any foundation name. I've never seen it ever. And the reason is a bank, if you don't make the payments, can still operate a foreclosure on the note with you as the principal and not have to even come against the title. Once they foreclose on you personally, it's over.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So I have just a few more. If I have an IRA, and I think that you touched on this, IRA, Roth, or a retirement pension, and I can take it out. Should I take it out and donate the funds to the foundation?
I wouldn't keep any retirement account in the public right now. None. Most states are legislating at this point to hair clip retirement accounts that are being done through the state. It's getting kind of scary. And all bank signature cards are, they have the ability to take your funds out of the account and then replace that with stock in the bank. That's your signature card. We're going to experience hair clipping in this nation like we've never experienced, if not complete theft. And it's going to happen at the Great Reset, or at that moment of the Great Reset. So why have funds in a retirement account that you have no guarantee with, instead of operating in other accounts? Take the hair clip right now versus a more severe one later, in my opinion, and then invest in the very currencies or cryptocurrencies that are going to be of value through the Great Reset period.
So you're saying if we had, well, this may be what you're saying. If we had a lot of money, well, maybe a lot of money, you're saying we should invest in crypto. And I heard you,
a lot of money to invest in crypto and make a lot of money.
You don't.
You do not need a lot of money to make a lot of money in crypto. In the next 5 to 10 years, this is why I say this to people in those numbers. Next 2 to 3 years are the biggest plays that you're going to see, the biggest movement or momentum of cryptocurrencies, because you're going to see the transfer of wealth from the fiat into the cryptocurrency system, into all cryptos, whether it's the Fed coin, whether it's, the British coin, whatever, all these cryptos are going to take the money from the fiat, hundreds of whatever trillions that we don't know the true number. It could be over a quadrillion of debt going to get pushed into cryptos, all of it. And right now, crypto is less than 1% of the representation of the total financial market play. So you have stocks, you have cash, you have, and what I mean by cash is every different kind of cash around the world. You have all these different types of investments that are out there. Crypto is less than 1%. So imagine stuffing a quadrillion of debt into digital coins and currencies that all need to move through one ledger, XRP and or XLM, whatever it is. They're going to be moving through just a couple of ledgers, one big one. And if you have that coin right now, 45 cents a coin, to make, and everybody's speculated on the numbers. I've heard XRP, it will be 100,000 a coin. I don't believe that. I've heard 35. I don't believe that. I believe 10. I believe 1,000 per coin easily. I think for it to work at a minimum needs to be 1,000 per coin. And what they did, and this is the interesting component, is they were known as the banker's coin, and that's why nobody liked them.
Mhm.
They stripped it off of the market through a bullcrap lawsuit. So people locally in America couldn't buy it except through uphold.com, which is an app on your wallet. And and what Ripple did, which is XRP's company, what Ripple did was they put 100 billion coins out there. They reserved 55 billion for the banks, and they released 45 billion. And people and the banks bought that 45 billion, and now the banks know everything is true. Like the Fed is working with Ripple. The Fed, okay. The Bank of England's working with Ripple. 60% of all Asian countries are working with Ripple. And what Ripple has done is they've set up a ledger that's going to eat the IOU of that 100 or 1,000 trillion. They're going to eat that IOU up and spit out cash in whatever currency on the other side. And that coin, the Ripple XRP coin, has to have a minimum value of $1,000 to make it work. So the banks are all going to agree on all their coins that they're buying, that 55 billion coins. They want to see, think about it, the banks are going to own these coins. They want to see those coins values go up, and they want to be able to transact through that ledger, which is an open source ledger. They can control, they can monitor, they can create through Ripple, but they alone can do it because it's open source. The Fed, the Bank of England, all the Asian banks, all ready, all poised. And here Deutsche Bank comes out with this report saying, these are the banks, these are the countries pulling the triggers, and here's their months. And it starts next month.
Wow.
So it's going down. And all for 55, 45 cents a coin, it's a cheap buy. It's a cheap buy. Most people are trying to make 10% a year. You know what I mean?
Wow. Okay. So here's the other one. I have a W-2 and I donate half the earnings in the church. How does that help me at the end of the year? Well, yeah, half the earnings can be donated to the church.
How do you think?
But do you give the IRS a donation acknowledgement to prove you donated to the church?
Why not?
Yeah, why not? All right. So
Why not?
okay.
Does it all the time. Everybody does it all the time. It's all structured. You're allowed to donate to any kind of entity you want, up to I think 60%.
Up to 60%?
I think it's up to 60.
Wow. Here's the other two.
Why not contract your W-2 employment as a 1099 W-9 through the foundation?
Wow. Okay. 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 I heard you talk about the W-9 earlier too. So how does the church purchase real estate or a car without credit?
Cash.
Cash. That's what I thought you would say.
We lived, I know that's a setup question. We lived without credit for, a lot of years. And it's only been this real, I mean, don't get me wrong, there's always been money lending and throughout history, but there's never been it like this where you can buy a $2 million house at 2 3/4% interest. We're at a very different time. How about we honor the word of God and come out of debt and not require a loan? Number one, or number two, the reason is that I don't want to be in debt is both very personal, because I went through something where I hit the streets with my whole family because of that. And I swore I would never go through that again. And I don't have any debt. The element of taking over somebody else's debt is a totally different element for me biblically, because I'm not creating a new note in the system and making more funds for the bank. I'm taking over an existing note, number one. So what I plan on doing in the future, if the market tarries and if the market, adjusts where we can do this, there's, you can acquire people's houses taking over the note, and you can make them Airbnbs and where they're making 10, 15, 17 grand a month. There's all kinds of people out there doing this. Now, I did as a licensed real estate broker, my BC is a licensed real estate broker that I took the test for, if that makes sense to you, in the state of California. I understand, and I created an entire system on a private side remedy for people to be able to purchase. So anybody that goes through the living in the private, they get this. It's where if they want to purchase a property where they want to take over an existing note, we give them the paperwork to be able to do it. It's communication with the owners. Hey, I know that you're having some trouble. Why don't you let us, and you just talk to them about giving them capital, getting them out of the house. It's got to work. It's got to make sense on the numbers, but you can take over, get a power of attorney on the note. You can get the deed. I wouldn't record the deed. I wouldn't change it over. I'd keep it in their name, at least until you're ready to cash out the property and then put it in the foundation, or you can just put it in the foundation. It's up to you. But you control the property. You're controlling the note. You have a signed deed in hand. Remember something, you don't need to record a signed deed. There's some states that have legislation that maybe say an unrecorded deed in the private is void after 30 or 60 days. And that's not exactly true, because there are deeds like a counter deed. What's funny is you look up deed in Black's law, it's not under deed. You have to look up counter deed, and a counter deed is, by definition, it's a private side unrecorded deed that will trump a public side recording when presented. So even if a state legislation were to say if you didn't record the deed, it's void, they can't void a unrecorded counter deed. There's legislation that's determined that on the Supreme Court level that would trump the state legislation, is my point. But again, you may not want to do that. You may just want to record your deed into the name of the foundation, control the note, and you might be at a 2 or 3 or 4% interest versus at a current market rate at 7% today. And today in California, you can't buy a house at $2 million. It's a brand new house in California is about 1.5 to 2.5 million for a brand new house in California. 3,000, 2,500 square feet. They're not big, and they have this much room between the houses. 1.7 to 2.5 million dollars at 7%, 20% down. You're still talking about a $10,000 to $12,000 house payment. So why would we even be considering credit? Yeah, I got it. You might be purchasing in another state. It might be a lower amount. Might be this, that, or the other. But the reality is real estate is so high now, you're going to be wanting to find the deals where you can take the properties over, or take the existing notes over, because people have been refinancing like crazy for the last 5 or 6 years. But it's coming a time where jobs are going to be lost. People are going to be not able to afford their house. And all you got to do is there's certain property finders that you can just pull up and you see all the pre-notice of defaults. You can put your card, I have cash, and on their doors. And just we used to do this. We used to walk the neighborhood and drive. I'd get out, walk up, knock on the door, put a card up, and just start talking to them. But I would never, if it was the wife, I would never talk to the person that was not. This is one of the lessons you learn if you're trying to do this. You don't tell the wife that the house is in foreclosure. You just don't, because she may not know, or he may not know if it's in her name. But the point is we have the paperwork, and it's included in the living in the private, and there's other elements of getting stuff done without credit. And I don't think most people are going to be able to utilize credit anyways for loans in the future.
Okay. And finally, that was good. Finally, do I need to open a non-interest bearing account for the church, or does it matter?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Okay. Well, thank you very, very much. So if I have a little bit of money, I should purchase crypto. I should invest in crypto. And then And then after that grows, I should turn it into a hard asset. That's what I thought I heard you say earlier. As it grows after like 2 to 5 years or something like that.
Bingo. And just again, remember, they have to take a quadrillion in debt. They're going to do a great reset. They have to be able to chip everybody and mark everybody in their minds. And the only way to do that is through digital currency. And the chip is already out there and it's patented, and you can go read it on Patent Scope. The chip number is 060606. That's the patent number. And that patent is going, that patent through Microsoft, an embedded chip in your wrist. It's going to monitor through the Internet of Things, whether you're being a good boy or girl in the future. They want everybody chipped by 2026. The reality is 2030 to 35. So in the next 4 years, the major portion of change you're going to see, like the world is dramatically going to change on a monthly basis. And the more, so my portfolio on 15 coins, and I'm heavily staked on just a few. So look at what the IMF is saying to use. XRP, XLM, XDC, and 2 others. I can't remember the name, HBAR. And so I just got them all, except one, I think now. And look at the contracts that are being made. You can buy HBAR for 6 cents. And they're right now signing a deal with Visa. There's all kinds of coins that have what's known as a use case. They're not a store of value like Bitcoin. It's not like holding a gold bar. Bitcoin is like holding a gold bar, except you have nothing to show for it. A gold bar, you have something to show for it. But a Bitcoin is called a store of value. There's a bunch of store of value coins out there, but there's also coins out there that are called a use case based coin. Some have ledgers, some have blockchain technologies. They have a wide array of technologies to bring the world from fiat into digital, and to be able to loan people money on a digital realm using their own coin accounts. So like, for example, Ripple has an excellent, they're way in advance on that ability. And so imagine, if you will, you want to get a loan and you have, sounds silly, but you could quite potentially have several million, whatever, in an account. You can transfer it to an escrow account at Ripple, and they will give you a loan at a super low interest rate, if anything, based on the fact that you're letting them hold the funds and play on those funds. And like crypto.com, you can put money on a crypto.com and have it held for a period of time, and they'll give you certain levels of cards with certain levels of limits. And you can go spend those limits and it'll come off the account, and then you can replenish the account. But there is all these platforms opening up to take all of those debt fiat currencies from all the countries around the world, and they're going to be jammed into all these digital currencies, and all of the digital currencies are going to run on 1 or 2 different ledgers. And those 1 or 2 different ledgers are XRP, XLM, XDC, whatever. But XRP is by far in advance. So if it were me, go on Apple.com, start purchasing your XRP ASAP, and get it on a hard wallet ASAP, and just wait, because the rollout is happening next month.
So we can get that at apple.com?
Go to Amazon. Go to Amazon and buy either a Trezor, buy 2 Trezors, or buy 2 Decents, DCENT hard wallets, or buy 2 Nanos, NANO ledgers. They're just hard wallets that hold cryptocurrency. It's like being your own bank. Like if you want to make a withdrawal, you plug it into your phone, you plug it into your computer, and you send money.
Okay.
It's on the hard wallet physically.
Okay. So go to Amazon and purchase a DCP MT hard wallet. or Mano ledgers. And,
Or Trezor, yeah.
okay, Trezor,
Trezor, Trezor. Trezor.
Trezor,
It's called
okay,
Trezor T.
Trezor T. Okay, well, I got a lot of information. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And it's so nice to be
It's
here.
very confusing, and I apologize, and I kind of spit it all out there, but just look, I tell everybody is drop everything you're doing and
Mhm.
get it done. Don't like be thinking in a week, oh, I shouldn't do this. Oh, I'll get around to it. Stop what you're doing today. Like, until you're done, get it. It's
Okay.
we're gonna have a party when it goes down. I'm sure several hundred, if not 1,000 people have done this based on us saying this, but I, I want to ride that back, and I want to make sure that we use it for the glory of God, because it's gonna perform.
Awesome, awesome. But when you say XRP, that sounds like something in the stock market.
That's the name. It's a shortened name for a coin that is produced by Ripple. Ripple is
Okay,
the company name, XRP is the coin name.
okay. Okay, well, I'll learn more about it, but I'll just go ahead and try to do whatever I can do to get this from Amazon at this point. And I'll
You
tell
got it.
everybody.
Be blessed.
Thank you.